The countdown to World Cup 2026 has begun, but one question refuses to go away. Is this a global festival of football or a new battleground for politics? On paper, it should be the biggest celebration in the history of the sport. 48 teams, 3 nations, and millions of fans ready to cheer. But behind the excitement lies a more complicated story shaped by Trump Tariffs 2025, stricter visa policies, and a $625 million security package. These are not just background details. They are the forces that could decide whether fans feel welcomed or pushed away. For Canada, Mexico, and the United States, the promise of unity is being tested by the weight of trade, disputes, border controls, and political narratives. The world wants to watch the matches, but it also wonders how politics will shape the experience off the field. So tonight, we're not asking who will win the trophy. We're asking whether the World Cup itself can remain bigger than the politics surrounding it. And the only way to answer that is by looking at the hard data, the official timelines, and the facts, not the slogans. From unity bid to friction. Back in 2018, the slogan United 2026 captured the imagination of the football world. The United States, Canada, and Mexico promised a joint bid built on unity, certainty, and a vision of North America as the future home of global sport. It was a moment of optimism, a belief that 3 countries with different cultures could deliver the world's biggest tournament together. But by 2025, the reality looks very different. Instead of unity, we see new trade disputes fueled by Trump Tariffs 2025. Instead of certainty, there are border restrictions, stricter visa rules, and mounting costs for fans and host cities. The Associated Press noted in March 2025 that the once bright message of unity has shifted to acrimony. The Guardian warned a month earlier that logistical costs, visa backlogs, and political barriers could overshadow the entire event. For Canada and Mexico, what began as equal partnership now feels more like a supporting role under America's heavy influence. And for the United States, the domestic political climate has turned what should have been a unifying project into yet another stage for division. The lesson here is clear. Building a united bid is one thing, but sustaining unity in a turbulent geopolitical climate is something else entirely. The World Cup of 2026 may still be historic, but the promise of unity is already facing its toughest test. Hard facts, venues, knockouts, tickets. World Cup 2026 will be the biggest tournament the sport has ever seen, with 104 matches spread across 3 nations. But the balance of games tells an important story. The United States will host the majority of the knockout stage, including all quarterfinals, semifinals, and the grand final. Canada, despite being a co-host, will primarily stage group matches, with cities like Toronto and Vancouver welcoming the early rounds. That doesn't mean Canada's role is small. In fact, Canadian officials expect close to 1 million international visitors during the tournament. This could become one of the country's largest sporting events ever, and a key test of whether fans choose Canada as a safer, more welcoming alternative. Meanwhile, Mexico will also host a selection of matches, but the weight of the global spotlight will remain on U.S. soil. For fans, one date stands out right now, September 10, 2025. That's when FIFA launches the Visa Presale, giving cardholders the first chance to secure tickets before the general public. This presale will be the first real indicator of international confidence in the event. If demand is strong, it signals that fans are willing to travel despite political noise. If sales lag, it could confirm that visa delays, tariffs, and border concerns are starting to affect enthusiasm. Either way, the numbers from this pre-sale will tell us far more than slogans about unity or certainty. They will show us how much trust the global audience really has in North America's World Cup. Security, the $625 million question. When it comes to hosting the world, safety is not optional, it's a requirement. In August 2025, the U.S. Congress approved a $625 million security package specifically for World Cup 2026. According to Politico, this money will be reimbursed to the 11 U.S. host cities, covering overtime for police officers, new security equipment, and emergency response planning. Supporters argue this is a necessary investment, especially with millions of visitors expected in the spotlight of global media. But critics have raised tough questions, calling it a potential slush fund for liberal cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Seattle. The federal government has pushed back, insisting that reimbursements are tightly controlled and limited to legitimate event-related expenses. No city can simply pocket the cash. Every dollar must be justified, audited, and approved. Still, the optics matter. In a political climate already charged by Trump Tariffs 2025 and debates over government spending, a $625 million security bill looks like another flashpoint. For some, it proves that hosting mega events in America comes with enormous costs and political baggage. For others, it is a reminder that safety must come first, even when the price tag is high. Either way, this security package shows how even a sporting event can become part of a broader debate over money, politics, and national priorities. Visas, detentions, and the welcome gap. For millions of fans around the world, getting a ticket is only the first step. The bigger hurdle may be the border itself. Reports of long visa delays and stricter entry requirements have raised alarms, especially for supporters traveling from outside North America. Human Rights Watch went as far as writing directly to FIFA in 2025, warning that restrictive U.S. immigration policies could jeopardize both safety and accessibility for World Cup visitors. Their letter, covered by Politico EU, emphasized that a tournament built on the idea of unity risks failure if fans can't even make it through the border. We don't have to wait until 2026 to see the problem. The Club World Cup earlier this year offered a preview when hundreds of international fans were held up or even denied entry at U.S. checkpoints. ABC7 reported on chaotic airport scenes where supporters missed matches they had already paid for. Canada, on paper, should be an easier entry point as a co-host. But in reality, many fans will still need to cross through U.S. airspace or land borders, making them subject to the same policies and restrictions. That means even if Canada offers smoother processing, it remains vulnerable to America's immigration rules. For a tournament meant to showcase North America's hospitality, the message is mixed. Excitement about the matches collides with anxiety over paperwork, waiting times, and the fear of being turned away. The welcome gap may not be seen on the pitch, but it will shape how the world remembers the 2026 World Cup. Canada's soft power gamble. For Canada, World Cup 2026 is more than just soccer. It's a chance to project influence on the global stage. Officials in Ottawa estimate the country could welcome up to 1 million international visitors during the tournament, making it one of the largest sporting events in Canadian history. This is not just about ticket sales or hotel bookings. It is about showcasing Canada as a safe, welcoming destination at a time when its southern neighbor is viewed through a far more polarized political lens. Some fans are already signaling they prefer to attend matches in Toronto or Vancouver, precisely because they want to avoid the heavy political climate in the United States. In that sense, Canada sees an opportunity to score what diplomats call a soft power goal, using sport to reinforce its global image as inclusive, friendly, and stable. But here is the catch. The spotlight moments won't happen in Canada. All quarterfinals, semifinals, and the final itself are scheduled for U.S. venues, leaving Canada with group stage and early round matches. That reality risks turning Canada's role into something closer to a supporting act rather than a co-star. The question is whether Canada can leverage its piece of the tournament to build diplomatic capital anyway. By focusing on smooth travel, efficient logistics, and a fan-friendly atmosphere, Canada may yet leave a lasting impression. But the gamble is real. If politics and border policies dominate the headlines, Canada's chance to shine could be overshadowed by America's controversies. Trump Tariffs 2025 and economic undercurrents. World Cup 2026 was never meant to be about trade policy, but economics has a way of creeping onto the field. Trump Tariffs 2025 don't directly target the tournament, yet their ripple effects are already being felt. Higher tariffs on imports raise the cost of everything from stadium equipment to travel logistics. Airlines, hotels, and even food suppliers face steeper bills, and those costs often land on fans in the form of higher ticket prices and more expensive trips. The Guardian Business reported in August 2025 that European travel giant TUI recorded a 12% drop in bookings from Europe to the United States. Executives cited not only rising costs but also a tougher border climate that discourages casual visitors. For a mega event depending on global tourism, those numbers are more than a warning sign. They suggest that politics and economics are shaping who shows up in the stands. Canada and Mexico may benefit slightly, as some fans reroute their trips through those countries. But with the knockout stages locked in U.S. venues, anyone chasing the drama of the quarterfinals, semifinals, or the final will still have to face the American price tag. This is the hook moment. A sporting event designed to unite the world is being reshaped by global economic currents. The World Cup is still a game of goals and glory, but beneath the surface, tariffs and trade tensions are changing the way fans experience it. In 2026, the drama may not just unfold on the pitch. It could also be written in the receipts of those who make the trip. Politics in the stadium, narratives collide. Every World Cup carries stories beyond the pitch. But in 2026, those narratives are colliding head-on. In July 2025, the Washington Post posed a blunt question: is the world ready for Trump's America? The New Yorker went further, describing how President Trump has positioned the World Cup as another stage for political theater. These perspectives highlight the tension between two powerful storylines. On one side, there is the timeless belief that sport can rise above politics. Supporters of this view argue that the World Cup has always been about unity, fans wearing different colors but sharing the same passion. On the other side, critics see the political climate as too divisive, warning that this is the wrong moment and the wrong atmosphere to host such a global celebration. The debate is not abstract. It shapes how international visitors perceive the event and whether they feel welcomed or wary. For some fans, the stadium will remain a sacred space where politics are left at the gate. For others, every checkpoint, every speech, and every headline will be a reminder of the political environment they cannot ignore. The message is clear. Separating sports from politics is harder than ever, and World Cup 2026 will test just how much the game can, or cannot, stay above the fray. Mexico, the overlooked host. Lost in the headlines about U.S.-Canada friction is the fact that Mexico is also a co-host of World Cup 2026. Three Mexican cities, Mexico City, Guadalajara, and Monterrey, will welcome fans from across the globe. Yet compared with the constant focus on American politics and Canadian soft power ambitions, Mexico's role has received far less attention. In practice, Mexico may become the cultural bridge of the North America World Cup. Its matches will highlight Latin American passion for the game, with fan experiences distinct from what visitors will find in Toronto or New York. For many international travelers, especially from South America and Europe, Mexican venues also offer a more affordable option, from ticket pricing to hotels and local transport. Logistics matter too. Mexico provides alternative entry points that could ease some of the visa and border anxieties tied to the U.S. This makes it more than a side note. It's a reminder that World Cup 2026 is a three-nation effort, not just a U.S.-Canada storyline. Including Mexico in the broader picture gives audiences a fuller sense of how the tournament reflects all of North America, not just its northern neighbors. 180-day watch list. For viewers following closely, the next 6 months will reveal whether the promises of World Cup 2026 can hold up under real-world pressure. The first milestone is September 10, when FIFA opens the Visa Presale for tickets. This will be the earliest signal of fan confidence. Strong demand means supporters are ready to travel despite politics, while weak sales could expose hesitation. In the fourth quarter of 2025, host cities will begin large-scale volunteer intake and training. Tens of thousands of volunteers are needed, and the process will test how well cities can coordinate across languages, logistics, and security protocols. Visa throughput is another key metric to watch. Backlogs at U.S. consulates have already frustrated travelers, and clearing them will determine whether international fans can actually make the trip. Finally, pay attention to interagency coordination in the United States. Homeland Security, Customs and Border Protection, and local police forces must align on rules, checkpoints, and contingency plans. For fans watching from home, especially those 55 and older, this checklist provides a clear roadmap. Instead of getting lost in headlines, keep an eye on these concrete developments. They will show whether the World Cup is truly on track, or if politics and bureaucracy will put up more barriers before the first whistle blows. World Cup 2026 will be the biggest sporting event ever staged in North America, but politics will remain the shadow no one can fully ignore. The excitement of football is real, yet the debates over visas, border rules, and a $625 million security bill show how deeply politics and economics shape the fan experience. Trump Tariffs 2025 add another layer of tension, reminding us that global trade policies can influence ticket prices, travel costs, and the overall image of the host nations. For viewers, the smartest approach is not to get lost in rhetoric, but to track the real indicators. Ticket sales, starting with the September 10th Visa Presale, visa throughput at U.S. consulates, and how well Canada positions itself as a welcoming alternative. These hard data points will tell us far more than campaign slogans or political speeches. In the end, the question stands: will the World Cup become a bridge that unites nations, or a battleground that highlights divisions? Over the next 6 months, the answer will start to take shape. So stay tuned, keep watching these signals, and join us here as we break down every update on this historic journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss our deep dives on World Cup 2026 and the politics shaping it.